Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 8th grade concept of identifying functions. This is standard 8.5G in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 11 off the 2017 released STAAR test. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. So we've got 4 different graphs here, A, B, C, and D, and all we're asked here is which one does not represent of y being a function of x. So what does that mean to have y be a function of x? Well, let's look to see if we can define that term, because unfortunately there's not many context clues, and we're not going to find the definition on our mathematics chart. So function is when one input leads to one output. And so we can see this in graphs like we have here. We can see this in ordered pairs. We can even see this in a table of just xy coordinates. So what we've learned over the years is that our input in any of our equations is going to be our independent variable. And our independent variable, that's going to be x. So we always start with our x. Then our output is going to be our dependent variable. So that's what we get after we modify x somehow, and that is going to be y. So that's what it means when it says y is a function of x. So y changes based on whatever x starts as, and whatever we do to x. We multiply it, we divide it, we add to it, we subtract from it. And so each x has one y output. And so what we don't want is we don't want an x to go to two different y's. See, this is what a function is not. And so we've got our x's right here, right? We've got our x's, and so let's just plot our points. And so let's say we've got x as 4. Well, let's look at A. If I were to say x is 4, I could say we've got 4, maybe that's 3.5. But you also see that 4 is negative 3.5. So you see that is already breaking this rule. You've got one x, you've got one input, but it's leading to two separate y's, two separate outputs. So I'm pretty sure A is going to be the one that's not a function. And let's look. Yeah, there's this little gap right here between 3 and 4. But what you're not going to find is you're not going to find any x's that have two y's, any inputs that have two outputs. So B looks okay. C, yeah, it just kind of peaks right there at 4, but I don't see any x's doubling up. And then you've got a little bit of a wider gap on D between -2 and 1, but these arrows go in opposite directions. Now, if the arrows were to go something like this, well, that would be a problem with these points right here. So whenever you are looking at a graph, it's actually the easiest to identify whether it's a functions or not, because you can just apply the vertical line rule. So what you do is you draw a vertical line on the graph. And as long as the vertical line is not touching the graph twice, you're good. You notice how this is violating that basically at every single point. Every single vertical line I'm drawing here touches the graph in two different spots. I cannot do that with B. No matter where I draw that vertical line, it comes close, but it never touches twice. Same with C. It only touches once. And then same with D. The vertical line rule only touches once. So B, C, and D are all functions. A is definitely not a function, and that's our answer.